Hi, it's Sherri from Quilting Life, and I'm here today with my March block of the month. I really love this month's block. I'm super excited about it. It's another star block inside the churn dash, but it has some really kind of fun features that will really allow you to play with your fabrics and have fun and put little pops of color here and there. I've also got a lot of tips. I realize that a lot of you who are sewing along, this might be your first time doing a block of the month. And so I've got a lot of extra guidance, I feel like, in today's video with extra tips and some photos to show the step-by-step block construction, and also just tips and tricks about tools you might want to use. I feel like the patterns are super helpful too, so make sure that, you know, if you're working on your block, you might want to have the video up and the pattern right with you. And let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about the March block of the month. I have to say this one is really cute. I really like it. Another star block. I think I told you in January that some of the blocks would be star blocks inside the churn dashes and others wouldn't be. Like last month we had the 4/4 square triangles, but we're back to another star block and it's really fun. I love the kind of different center with the 2 solid squares and the 2 half square triangles, and then regular sawtooth star on the outside, you know, construction just like our January block, but we've got kind of the addition of these fun touches of color in the corners with the half square triangles. I do want to give a little bit more information about these blocks. I have realized just with the emails coming in that a lot of you are beginner quilters. And so I actually, when I put the small block together, I kind of did a series of step-by-step pictures that will pop up. And so we'll go ahead and pop those up now. I've got all the parts and pieces laid out in this picture that you're seeing on the screen now. And the first thing we're going to do is sew the 4 center units together. So the 2 squares and the 2 half square triangles. So the next picture that comes up shows that that center unit has been sewn together. And now the next step that we're going to do is we are going to sew the flying geese unit and the 2 half square triangles in the top row together. We're going to sew the 2 flying geese units to the center unit for the center row, and the same thing on the bottom that we did on the top, the 2 half square triangles to that flying geese unit. And you'll see the picture of these 3 units sewn together but separate from each other. And then after that, we're going to sew those 3 rows together to make our center unit. And what I also did, and you'll see in that last picture, is that I sewed the half square triangles to the strip set on the top and the bottom row. And then of course the final step would be sewing these rows together with our center section. I also wanted to point out, I had a few questions just when I say background, what do I mean? And so background is anything in this block that is the cream tone-on-tone fabric. So I would include background fabric in these churn dash sections and in the block. And then a lot of you wanted to know, what do I mean when I say churn dash sections? So churn dash sections are the 8 units that make up the outer border. Half square triangle, 4 of those, and 4 of these rectangle strip sets. And so in the large block, it would be the gray and background, 4 of those units, and then the 4 half square triangles. And this makes up the churn dash portion of the block. I just wanted to be sure and make that clear. Okay, tools. I've got some tools. For the small block, I did use the Block Lock Flying Geese 1x2 finished for these units. Now please note the pattern is not written for this. You have to add a 1/4 inch to every measurement for the Flying Geese units. If you're using this ruler, you can't use the pattern measurements. That's if you're not using the ruler. And some of you have also asked, why did I not include that? And it's because I don't want you to have to use the ruler to make the block. So it's written so you can just make it without buying a specialty ruler. But if you have the specialty ruler, it's super helpful because these pieces are really tiny. And your ruler instructions will also give you the exact measurement that you need to cut. Okay, and for the same thing, if you want to use the Block Lock for the 12-inch block, it's the 2x4 finished. So those are very helpful for those. I did use my 1/2 inch ruler. This is a Creative Grids 1/2 inch ruler, and I used that to draw the lines for my half square triangles. And so there were 6 half square, well actually 10 if you count the churn dash sections for each block. And I did go ahead and use this ruler, and we actually have a video with this method that you can watch if you would like. But this is another super helpful tool for this block. When I trimmed my half square triangles, my little fit to be 1/4 2.5 is really helpful for trimming tiny little half square triangles. And I do have, you know, that's included kind of on the same video that we have this ruler. And I used this bigger version of this ruler when I trimmed the larger half square triangles. So none of these tools you have to have. They are just helpful. Really, for trimming those half square triangles, the main thing is that if you can use a ruler with a diagonal line, it really does help you to line it up and trim it. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is I get a few questions every month. And so I've told everyone that has emailed that I will be sure to show this, is the pressing directions. Actually it's probably easier to see on this bigger block. I'm gonna put it right here. Okay, so I told you that I sewed the center together. Those half square triangles were pressed open. I did flip this little seam here. We actually, I think, have a video on that for making 4 patches. It just helps make that 4 patch a little bit more flat. When I added those Flying Geese, I pressed them in to my 4 patch section. It helped those seams to be really flat. And then on the top and bottom units, I pressed the Flying Geese seams out to the half square triangle units. And then when I assembled this unit with the 3 rows, like we talked about, I pressed in to the center section. And then the outer section, I've been doing the same every month. I always add the 2 side pieces first and press out toward that gray section or dark section. And then when I sew the top and bottom unit, I always press those half square triangles toward the strip piece section. And then for this one, I kind of did the opposite that I did here in the middle of the block. When I added the top and bottom row, I pressed out because there was so much flat space there that it really helped these Flying Geese and half square triangle intersections to be really flat and pressing it that way. Okay, so we've got 3 blocks now. We're a 1/4 of the way done. I always love when we get to this section. It just seems like you can kind of start to see where you're going with the quilt when you have 3 blocks. Oh, last thing I did want to mention on this red and blue quilt, I did decide to use the medium blue. I was going back and forth if I was just going to use dark blues and reds in my outer churn dash sections, but I did decide to add in that medium blue. So anyway, that's it for the March block of the month. Be sure to stop by my blog to get the PDF pattern, and you can still get the January and the February patterns. There's a link there so that you can get those and all of the information that you need for that. Okay, so that's it for the Quilting Life Mystery Block of the Month for March 2022. I'm really loving these blocks. I hope you are as well, and I hope today's video was super helpful for you. If you enjoyed it, please share it with a friend, hit the like button, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much for stopping by.